Now we turn to Cuba, where power issues are plaguing the island nation. Cubans were left in the dark for a 29-hour blackout. Power has now been restored. NBC's George Solis reports.
President Trump continuing his pressure on Cuba.
Cuba right now is in very bad shape.
After signaling for weeks that he may focus on the island nation after the U.S.'s involvement in Iran and Venezuela. The president saying yesterday,
"We'll be doing something with Cuba very soon."
Secretary of State Marco Rubio also weighing in.
Cuba has an economy that doesn't work and a political and governmental system that can't fix it.
In Cuba, residents struggling with the chaos. Inside this hospital in Havana, the threats facing Cubans are on full display, with doctors and their patients dealing with unpredictable power outages. Issues that have gotten worse since the Trump administration blocked oil shipments from Venezuela after arresting its leader, Nicolas Maduro.
How much worse have things gotten since the energy blockade?
Muchísimo. Muchísimo.
Doctors say the outages, which could happen multiple times a day and last hours at a time, make it challenging to store medications that rely on refrigeration, medications that are also sometimes difficult to stock. But perhaps the biggest challenge facing both medical staff and their patients, just getting to clinics and hospitals for help. Yonel Quispolo Garcia has been receiving life-saving leukemia treatments for more than a year. She worries because she lives in a rural area, she won't have the transportation to get to treatments she so desperately needs. While in the U.S., the White House continues to push for change.
The people in charge, they don't know how to fix it, so they have to get new people in charge.
And as we continue to follow this story, it is a story that has connections to us right here at 11 Alive. Producer Gabby Nunez, who is always behind the scenes bringing you this program, joins us now. Gabby, you have family in Cuba right now.
Yes, I do, Zach. So it was actually a scary 24 hours because we couldn't keep in contact with anyone. I'm going to show you all a map of Cuba right now so I can explain where people are from. So you can see Havana is in the top left corner. That's where George Solis has been reporting. And those are some of the best hospitals. Not a lot of agriculture in the area. If people take a cruise to Cuba or anything, like Havana's probably where they're staying. A lot of my family is from Camagüey, which is more towards the right side of the island. That's a lot of where my mother's family is from. And then my father's family is from the outskirts of Havana. So when they talk about rural areas anywhere near Havana right now, they're actually having a lot of success with the electrical grid at last check. How I keep in communication with them is largely Facebook Messenger. I have aunts, great aunts, and cousins around my age. For those of you, a lady will tell her age. I'm about 30 years old. People in their mid-20s. Are some of the family that I still have there. But as of right now, at last check, my last Facebook message was probably about 6 a.m. from a cousin who's in the Camagüey area. And he says that they've only had power intermittently, maybe 20 minutes at a time. So he's charging his phone when he can. He says that things are really dire, getting access to medication and food has been difficult. And Zach, one of the major struggles is that they're trying to eat things that will spoil quickly, but also ration enough food because the grocery stores also can't keep food cold and you can't buy food the way that we can here in the States. So the outages, more than an international story, it hits a little close to home, but it is kind of incredible to see that with the reporting and NBC's dedication of having a crew out there, they're getting access to a side of Cuba that we wouldn't typically see.
And, you know, we get that access through you as well. You know, you talk about some of the just pragmatic challenges of you know, things we take for granted here, you know, but having to think of we need to get as much food as we can because, you know, it may be a struggle to buy some of this stuff down the road, but the ability to keep it in a fridge is something you can't take for granted. There's a personal impact to that too. I mean, Gabby, you said you have cousins there in Cuba. Just how is this hitting them emotionally, having to grapple with all this?
It's really sad, to be honest, and to be quite frank too. Like, I'm from Miami. It's very common. You go to the Miami International Airport, you can tell when people are sending goods back to Cuba. They're big black bags. People come and like essentially sending cargo. And right now, friends that I have in Miami are saying that the international airport, along with the long TSA lines and stuff, you don't see people sending stuff to Cuba the way that you did before because, one, they don't know if it's going to make it, And 2, you don't know if the families can keep it. They're not in communication with them. So on the personal level, my cousins are saying like a lot of medication is something that my family would send. They're like, don't send anything that's sensitive right now because it is also excruciatingly hot. It is the Caribbean after all. I'm talking like pushing 90 degrees in the area, and at night warm and humid. So things are sticky, like you're not showering with hot water right now. So imagine how dire things are that people who are asking or typically asking for help or asking when the next shipment is, they're like, things that I need, can you please hold off? Don't send it yet. I don't even know if my milk is going to last tomorrow.
We know NBC and George Solis are going to continue to cover this. Gabby, we know that you, of course, are going to stay in touch with your family and keep bringing us this perspective too. Gabby, thank you.